then ZeNEX'TREME, and Isahara's DeathAngel, which I'll be honest, I don't know much about, but it's because I'm so sorry. I'm so sad. I haven't followed the European scene quite closely enough, but it's always fun to watch a foreigner against a Korean man, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're fortunate to have foreigners being able to participate in this tournament. Of course, you try not to be biased, but how can you not root for the foreigners when you're a foreigner yourself? And it's going to be a PvZ. We haven't seen a non-mirror matchup yet tonight, so that should be exciting. We can see the player graphics on the screen. We have Treme. Doesn't have much info. We have win rate 50%, best match PvP, and the fact that the win rate is just such a perfect number, to me that means we don't have a lot of statistics on it because it's exactly 50%, whereas DeathAngel is 51.07%. But interestingly enough, that's weird. They both said their best matchup is their mirror matchups.
Huh.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I can get behind that. I don't know. It's easy. I don't know. I find personally my best matchup I feel is PvP because you can just kind of understand your opponent. You know exactly what they're doing. They're doing the same thing you're doing. You know what I mean? They have the same capabilities as you.
Yeah.
So I can kind of understand that when players have that, but it does mean they'll both be maybe a little bit out of their comfort zone playing in this matchup. PvZ's a matchup. Pros are having some trouble in this matchup lately, man. It's getting pretty hectic. I mean, especially when you get to the late game, it's just one of those really unforgiving matchups where it all comes down to where the Vortex is placed, how well the Zerg spread out, things like that. We have players like Stefano just maxing by the 11-minute mark, literally, nowadays, having Broodlords out by 15-minute mark. Have
you ever tried to do that in a custom? Just
ever try to do what max?
Yeah,
oh no, I haven't. What have you?
It's fun. Yeah, I've tried.
How fast do you max?
10:45. But this is the first time I did it though, so maybe I can improve. I don't know though.
Nice.
I don't know the optimal way to do it, and I cheated a little. I didn't make 4 links after.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Okay.
It's a really passive Protoss. It was a passive Protoss.
Okay. They're scouting. They got their probe right in there, cannon rushing. You're like, nah, I'm good. I got this. We're gonna be on Ohana PvZ on this map. It's not. It's interesting because you can take 3 base pretty easily, but the choke point into that third is still bigger than it is on some other maps. So dealing with Roach Max coming in there, you need really good force fields as a Protoss defending. As a Zerg, there's a lot of really wide open spaces you can use to your advantage. I don't think this is that great of a Colossus map in terms of PvZ. It's just there's so much wide open space. If you're going to use sentries for force fields, you're going to need just generally more than normal because of how many you're going to need for such a big area to force field. So I don't know. We'll see how Extreme plays this, but he's always had really interesting style. He doesn't usually just like to play the standard. I actually haven't seen a lot of his PvZ, but or if I have, I don't remember it. But PvT, he really likes things like 2-base Templar and stuff like that. It's not necessarily unorthodox, but certainly not the standard. So I'm very interested to see if he has a different take on how to deal with that kind of 11, 12-minute Roach Max, if that is going to be what we're seeing from DeathAngel.
I think it's a little bit tricky to do on this map. There's rocks leading to your third, so taking that third incredibly fast, while you can do it, I feel like it's a little bit risky considering it's such a long way from your natural to the third if the rocks are still up. And the rocks are still going to be up because you're not necessarily getting early Zerglings out to take them out. I mean, you're getting 4, but that's going to take forever to take those rocks out. And I could see Stargate play being really good for the Protoss player, exploiting the fact that the creep's not going to be connected fast. You can't bring a queen over there too fast. And I've seen Zerg players just straight up open speed, just to have that safety. So we'll have to see what these two players do.
That's a great point. Things like +1 4-gate Void Ray
yes,
quite popular.
I think Stargate would be fantastic for Protoss on this map.
Yeah. The problem is so many Zergs are becoming so good at holding that stuff off. They have their roaches out in time for the Zealots. They have spores and queens out for the Void Rays. I don't know. We'll see. It's certainly one of the situations that just ends up coming down to control and execution. So,
all right,
should be good to get going with this game.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's transition into it, and we see in the bottom right-hand location, we have the green Zerg player DeathAngel under the identifier IP. In the top left, we have his opponent, the red Protoss ZeNEX'TREME.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a quick shout out to Ip. Actually, this guy, I guess DeathAngel is just playing on his account or something. He has a Korean account, but Ip's the caster for RageQuit.tv. You guys should definitely check him out. Awesome guy, works really hard for esports, and he does the type of analysis that almost no one else does. He goes really in depth into SC2 gears. I was talking to him recently about comparison of macro between different Terran players, and he was looking at For example, there was like a video he was looking at the difference between Pulse and Taja, and you could just see the differences in gaps in when they were producing Marines, things like that. That is just so interesting to find out. And he knows a lot about the game, so you guys should definitely check him out and show him some support. Just thought I'd give him a shout out since he's playing under that name.
I also remember like a tip from earlier. I forgot the exact wording of it, but something about counting SCVs in PvT with your scouting probe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I learned that from him too.
Can you re
Oh yeah.
restate?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, what it is that instead of trying to count the SCVs and just looking at it and be like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's like pretty
Right.
difficult to do when your probe's in there for a moment. You're just trying to look for which mineral patches only have. Oh, hold that thought. Probe. Oh, he gets the probe. Now
That's
he can hatch
huge.
first. That is an unbelievably big deal to be able to hatch first. But sorry to interrupt myself. Like, you instead just look for which mineral patches only have 1 drone on them instead of 2, because that's something that's easier to look for. You can kind of see the drone cycling. So then you just see, all right, oh, and he only has 3 mineral patches that only have, 1 SCV instead of 2. Well, that means he has 13 SCVs on minerals, because the optimum saturation would be 16 if you had 2 in each one.
Huh.
And then if you just know that, you're like, oh, okay, at this point in time, he has 1 building his barracks and 1 scouting. Where's that 3rd one at that he should have had, or something like that? Where is that? That means he's proxying a 2nd barrack somewhere else on the map. So that was the trick that he taught, which I thought was super, super useful. And the hatchery did go down for Night Angel.
Yeah.
DeathAngel, excuse me. What am I saying? I need that scoreboard on the top of my screen since I keep reading it. And
Oh, no!
He has a 2nd probe. No, he doesn't.
Golly.
ZeNEX'TREME, he didn't even
fire.
forward expand, despite it being like the easiest thing ever to do on this map. So
Dude, DeathAngel's mad, man. He wants that probe dead. Oh my gosh. But yeah, like you said, not Forge fast expanding on this map. We saw Tyler do this against Dark Force in the NASL. I don't know if you caught that. What do you make of it? I mean, I feel like Forge fast you can Forge fast expand here. There's a ramp.
I've actually been really experimenting with not Forge fast expanding a lot lately again, thanks to watching Tyler's stream and just being really enamored of his play. But I think it's one of those things that's like map dependent. Like you play on Antigua Shipyard, it's got a big ramp, okay, or Antuma Valley, something like that. Okay, go for the gateway play, prevent 3 hatch, no gas. But on this map, yeah, I agree. It's so easy to defend that 2 force field size ramp that it just seems like it would be wiser to do that. But maybe we'll just see some cheese come out here from ZeNEX'TREME. Looks like he's waiting to drop maybe a Twilight, maybe a Robo. No, just extra gateways. I thought he was waiting for that 100 gas. Is he gonna forgate? Is that what we're gonna see?
I would hate it if he did. I don't think it'd be good.
Oh my god. He's
Uh,
waiting. Yeah.
He is.
Wow.
I don't like it. Because DeathAngel saw the lack of a forge at his opponent's ramp, so he put down a gas, and now he's going to get speed pretty soon here.
And hopefully a roach too.
Yeah, and he put a spine as well. He's gonna keep this Overlord looking out for that expansion. Should have a Ling decently close to his opponent's base to see when he comes out. He's gonna have speed relatively, or I think so, right? He's gonna get speed. But of course you're able to deny the probe from putting down forward pylons if you have speed. But a stalker coming in here trying to do a little bit of harassment here.
That speed has been started for him, and he did continue mining gas. So he's not just going to be going for a speedling expand. He is going to be mixing in perhaps roaches later on or whatever he decides will be best. But I agree with what you were saying about spine crawlers. I think spine crawlers are just the single-handed, the easiest way to stop 4-gate. I mean, gateway units are just not good against spine crawlers, just simply put. So that allows you to just make more drones instead of making a whole bunch of lings. But, he's just going to make a lot of lings. That can work too. He just has to be careful because a lot of people, there it is, yes, full stalker. This is what people are doing in Korea now with the 4-gate. Instead of using sentries, they're just going mass stalker 4-gate. They're doing it for a couple months now. And it's a lot more effective. And even if you do get stalkers or spine crawlers, you can just kind of move back and forth. So he's going to need an excellence round with these lings. And he's got to wait for speed, which is only halfway done. So this is definitely a precarious moment here for our Zerg player, DeathAngel.
You can't really transition out of this as a Protoss once you're this committed, I don't think. And Angel has an Overlord in his opponent's natural expansion. Treem continuing to come forward, going right up the ramp. Remember, he has a center here. He can force field the bottom, but positioning his Zealots in such a way to absorb all the Zealot damage, or all the Zergling damage. But here come Leans from the back. Speed still not done. Trying to find the forward pylons to take those out. But
now speed's done, man. This with no forward pylon at the front to be able to warp in. As soon as those front zealots go down, well, actually they're defending for quite some time. If he could just get us surrounding these stalkers to be able to win this engagement, but he can't because the stalkers are in such an excellent position on the ramp. I love the pure zealot warp in from Extreme. He knows he's dealing with just pure Ling. And actually, DeathAngel might just lose this here. This is looking pretty tough to hold.
Yeah, no spine crawler is one of the things that could have helped him a lot. He has a lot of gas too, and didn't throw down a roach warren. That's a lot of wasted gas investment into that gas. And only Stalkers and a Zealot left. 8 more Lings in production. Oh no, I didn't see through those Zealots. So yeah, DeathAngel down to 22 supply. I don't see him winning this game.
Yeah, unfortunately. You pretty much hit the nail on the head with all the stuff you're talking about. The gas was a huge deal. Like, continue mining 150 gas, not to be used for anything, is just a huge deal. And whether that was he was going to go for something else or he just forgot to pull them off, whatever it was, it's hurting him a lot. He also just kind of getting out of position. He kept all of his links behind his mineral line and just let Extreme walk right up the ramp. You can't let the Protoss just do that with the Sentry. Force field the ramp, that's just going to be a losing situation. Then he, suicided a lot of his lings just kind of against the force field and against the Stalkers in the upper ground, just kind of dying to the Stalkers by themselves. So he's going to go for a bit of a counterattack here, but nice move by Extreme. He just drops the pylon. Counterattack not going to be able to do anything, and we should be seeing GG here any moment. I can't imagine him holding south with just lings against that many Zealots.
Yep, there's the GG. And, something else that might have been a little bit better for DeathAngel to give him a better chance is maybe, as I do have the camera up, it's a nice little space figure thing. It's kind of cool. But something he could have done is, remember when the Zealots and Stalkers went up the ramp, maybe send like 10 of his lings to try to go take down the forward pylons, because if you can limit the reinforcement potential of your opponent in a 4-gate, they're dead. You can just get units out and then they can't reinforce, so you're going to be fine. But pretty nice play from Treem, I guess, just bringing the 4-gate back to PvZ.
Yeah, we've seen it every once in a while nowadays. I mean, that's the advantage of going gate expand, is you have that option available. So your opponent does go hatch first, and it looks like they're playing a little bit too risky, perhaps. You can go for that, but still, it's one of those situations where it's like, DeathAngel, like, throw down at least one spine crawler. Like, he had his Overlord at the natural. It's not that he didn't know. I mean, he was making nothing but lings. It wasn't like, I'm just going to make drones or something. He knew, but he refused to throw down a spine crawler, didn't drop that Roach Warren. I mean, I feel like with the amount of gas he had in mind, if he had dropped a Roach Warren as speed was being started,
he would have.
Maybe he could have got out just a couple roaches, during that attack. And just a couple roaches are usually enough to make the difference when you have that many speedlings in front buffering, and all they're relying on is like really abusing the fact that they're on a ramp so you can't get as strong with your lings. If you have a couple roaches engaging as well while your lings are dealing the melee damage, it can really help. And he didn't have that. So DeathAngel just trying to do pure ling defense. That can work, but you have to mix in something else with it. Whether that's, like you said, trying to pick off forward pylons with lings, which can be hard to do, or a spine crawler, or making sure you're in a good position to engage. Don't let your opponent walk up a ramp like that. You got to stop them. You got to get your lings in position and prevent that from ever happening.
Yeah, he didn't have speed, so it's hard to make that decision.
It is.
But again, surface area is so important when you have lings. Actually, all play, surface area is so important. I was going to say, especially when you're using lings, but honestly, in all plays, that surface area, if you can have the better concave of your opponent, like that's StarCraft 2, you're probably going to be better off. But that was only game 1, so DeathAngel not out of it yet. We're going to have game 2 coming up pretty quickly in this best of 3. Don't go anywhere. This is the Korean Weekly, Season 3, Week number 1, Day number 1. My name is Axel, joined by Orb, and we'll be back after this quick commercial break.